Hey guys, my name's Clinton. We are here live at Mike's Dive Store in London. And with us today we have Justin.
Hi.
He's going to basically give you a full rundown of who he is and what he does. So Justin, over to you.
Hi Clinton. Hi online scuba watchers. I hope you're all there and enjoying this unique experience for an online show. Well, today it's very unique in the fact that we've never done anything like this before, so it's a first, so bear with us. So my name's Justin Hanning. I represent brands for Huish Outdoors, which encapsulate Atomic, Bear, Hollis, Oceanic, Stowsack and Seagull. We're going to run over a couple of bits about the Atomic brand and maybe show you some new products that you guys might well be interested in. It's going to be very informal, as you can probably tell, and we'll have a few questions from Clinton shortly. But overall, personally, I've been in the industry a little while, and so might be watching, so hi to any of you, and some of you consumers may well have met me in the UK at some of our demo events that we undertake. So without further ado, I'll let Clinton raise the questions, and if you guys have any questions at all, we have a guy in the background who will advise us on any questions you have, and we'll try and answer those through the talk as and when we can. So
okay, so cool. So first things first, basically, titanium. What is titanium all about with regards to?
Well, so let me just go back with Atomic. So Atomic was created by two designers, and they wanted to create the best dive product in the world. So they took the regulator, for instance, and they redesigned it, and they just redesigned it from the ground up. And instead of having a entry-level performance, mid-level performance, and high-level performance regulator, what they wanted to do was give everybody the opportunity to buy the highest performing regulator that was available. But we also needed to ensure that we had 3 or 4 different price points for everybody within that range. So we have what's called a one design theory on the Atomic regulators. So how we adjust the price on that regulator is by the materials that we actually use in the production, design and manufacture of the regulator. So very, very briefly, in the basic is the wrong word, but in the £450, £500 price point, we have what's called the Z2, Z3. And that's a chrome brass regulator that has zirconium sprayed over it. And zirconium is technically a material with the false diamond rings and earrings that you can get. And you can spray that over any metal part of the Atomic regulator, and that will protect the chrome from any scratching, any damage. And this is a unique layer that we only have. No other brand has this zirconium layer on our first stages. So over a long period of time, some of you may find on your regulators that the chrome starts to peel away or it gets reduced, and you can see the pink as the brass coming through. This will never happen with the zirconium regulator. We have a 2-year warranty on all the regulators, and all regulators have a titanium spring lever and poppet, which we'll go on to when we speak about titanium. So in the next level, we have what's called the B2, and that's a brass regulator, which again has zirconium coated. But this also has a titanium lever spring and inlet tube on the second stage. Then the next level up would be the M1. The M1 is a technical regulator. It has a slightly wider exhaust horn on it. The front cover is different. There is no water entry holes on the front cover. They're on the actual side. So this will prevent any free flowing if you're pulling yourself down a shot line, or if you're in a cave system where the water is flowing stage, or if you're running with on a side slung and your regulator is live, you're not going to get the water depressing the second stage diaphragm and venting the gas off. The other nice thing about this is when I've played with the DPVs you're going along on a DPV, you have to detune your regulator. With the Atomic M1, you don't need to do this because you don't have the water entering the front cover. So you're not venting the second stage and the exhaust bubbles coming out this here and wasting gas. The other unique thing about the M1 is that it's 80% from the box. So that's 80% O2 from the box, and that's CE mark for that. However, if you are going to use it at a higher percentage of O2, you will need to use the M26 DIN fitting. Then from the M1, we go up to the titanium T3. So Atomic is the only company in the world that is using titanium inside the second stages. And this is very important. The reason we use titanium is that it has a higher tensile strength. It doesn't rust, corrode, or deteriorate in any way. Therefore, you will have no issues with any of those parts failing in your second stage. There is, of course, a cost involved with this, and this is why the Atomic regulator tends to be slightly higher in price than you have of a normal chrome brass regulator with standard steel springs in. The other nice feature with the Atomic is we have a seat-saving device. The only time the actual seats are engaged is when they're used under pressure, when you put it on the cylinder and you breathe from it. If you don't breathe from it, the seats are not engaged, so they're not under spring tension and they're not artificially wearing any of the seats. All the other brands, unless they have a seat-saving style device, which I don't believe, don't have this feature. So the seats are always under spring tension. So that's really it in a nutshell. Obviously, I'd recommend you always to come and talk to your dealer like Mike's with regards to which Atomic regulator will fit your needs. And of course, you can check all this out, features and benefits on the website at atomic.com.
Okay, that's lovely stuff, Justin. Are there any major special features with regards to these titanium rigs, like anything that you would regard as something unique?
With the T3, obviously it's the lightest regulator, lightest first stage in the world. It is all titanium. Now, those of you who are saying, hey, you can't use higher percentage of O2 with titanium, this is correct. But what you must remember is it's a piston valve design, the Atomics. So what happens is the actual higher percentage of O2 or whatever gas mix you're using flows through the piston. It doesn't actually touch the titanium first stage at all. And then, of course, when it goes through the piston, it is reduced to around 10.2 bar, and then the air then goes down the second stage hose to a low pressure. So you're not going to have a problem with combustion or anything like that. Titanium tends to be used by a lot of people that travel, a lot of people that want the ultimate regulator, and of course its properties of not corroding or losing any tensile strength.
Yeah, well, that's good to know. So obviously, I mean, Atomic has got their T3, and they've also got a wide range in terms of BCDs. Now, yeah. Obviously, with the Atomic regulator that you have and the BC2
yes.
That you also sell,
yes.
What are the main features between the two of those if you put them together?
So the good thing is we were an Atomic. Well, Atomic was originally a regulator company to start with. We then went into masks and BCDs. And of course, we have the same ethics when we're designing these. We want the best product available to the diver without cost involved. So we decided to look at what's called the BC1 and the BC2, which Mike's do sell online, and they do sell the BC1 and BC2 very well. I'd just like to show you a couple of the features, the unique features that we put in this. So this is the here. Unlike the BC1, it's a wing design. Okay, so a lot of you in the UK prefer a wing to dive with. The BC1 is a conventional BCD with BC pockets, but it doesn't have a wing design. And of course, as we all know, the wing is slightly better positioning and more comfortable for you in the water if it's set up correctly. So I'm just going to run through a few of the features that we put in the design of the Atomic BCD. The first thing is we've used a material that is sort of rubberized, but it's not a rubber coating, so it won't actually delaminate. But the beauty of this material system is that it's not affected by salt, not affected by UV. And also, when you put water on, which I should have some water here to drip off, it will just run off. It doesn't actually soak into the material. So when you put this back in your car after diving, there is no water. It's not wet, which is really nice. A nice feature we have, which are on some other brands, is a neoprene comfort collar on the top here. That's quite a nice feature. The other thing we design with everything in mind is that if anything has a movement, so i.e. this shoulder buckle, this inflator button here, the integrated weights, the zipper, it's red, so it's very easily identified by anybody. So you know that that part moves, okay? We have a beautifully padded backplate, okay? We also have titanium coated rings with little stops here. So I'm sure some of you before have put a torch on a lanyard and clicked it onto this, and you've walked down to the dive site and the lanyard's swinging and it's hit you in the face. It's pretty embarrassing. So we put a little stop here to stop it swinging completely out. Have lost your dump valve and tucked it underneath the shoulder, or it's floating around up here when used. The shoulder dump is rigid. It's always in the same position. So you're never going to lose that or have it wrapped up underneath the shoulder, okay? I'd like to just put it on so I can show you a couple other features.
Perfect size for you, Justin.
Thank you. Surprisingly, we tried this out earlier and we got the right fit. So that's a good move. The collar band is fully adjustable as on conventional BCDs, and the shoulder straps are again adjustable on conventional BCDs. One of the nice things that we actually have is that when you inflate the BCD, this silicone strap here expands. And what that actually does is cushion you in the harness. So you're actually comfortable. In fact, if you wanted to wear an extra large, you could probably get away with it because of the way this actually grips you. Also, what happens is that you get no cylinder roll. There's some colleagues in the industry that have actually dived this, and they have said to me personally that it's one of the best BCDs they've actually dived. Of course, the price point is different to those BCDs, but it's extremely comfortable. So when you go into your dealer to have a look, make sure you just check this out and inflate it. It really does grip you, and you won't get any roll with the harness. The other thing Atomic has done is reinvented the integrated weight system. So basically just pull it like so. I don't know whether you guys can see it on the camera, but when I pull this, you can see the mechanism just here working. This is a one finger put back in, okay? Very, very simple, okay? We have tabs here to check it. There's no Fastex buckles that you've got to undo in emergency or your buddy's got to try and undo. It is literally pull and it's out. If you also notice, we have a 3D pocket. So the water does not compress this down, okay? So if you are doing weight removal to demonstrate to your students, you can put them back in very easily without having to worry about the pocket or find the Fastex buckle floating around and put it back in. Another nice feature is the inflator on Atomic. Now, going back to the materials that Atomic use, we use stainless steel in this inflator. Stainless steel, as you all know, is anti-corrosive. It won't rust, perish, or deteriorate. And all the parts in here are stainless steel. So everything that moves isn't going to wear away. The chrome isn't going to wear away, or the O-rings also get attacked by the chrome. The other nice feature is the inflator can be changed very simply, like this. Okay, you can put the SS1. I think you sell the
Yes,
SS1,
yes.
which is the alternate octopus air inflation system. So with the inflator, we actually sell this as a separate product that can be fitted on any other brand. You can also buy this in titanium, and you can buy the SS1 in standard stainless steel and titanium. At the bottom here is quite a nice feature. I'm going to come up to the camera a little bit because this is quite important. You see this here? This is the diameter of a garden hose. So some of you are trying to wash your BC out by depressing the button on the inflator and putting your hose in here, washing out the BCD and then draining it from the exhaust valves. This system, you just unscrew it. There's no O-rings to lose. It's actually captivated, and then you just screw it back on. Very straightforward. And it makes it easier for the retailer to swap inflators or SS1s. You haven't got to use cable ties and the likes. So I'm just going to remove the BCD now and just show you the back. And what we have on the back of the BCD is we have trim weight pockets, which you would normally find on a wing. Okay, to either side. And if you notice, we have quite a low profile dump, which is really nice now. So it's not high, it's very low profile. And even where you look where the dump cord is, we've got stainless steel here that actually will not wear the cord, the dump cord. So it's there for life. You never need to change this at all. The other nice feature we have is the cam band. So this is like a ski boot binding, snowboard binding. Basically thread it through and then cam it over. Okay, I don't know whether you can see that. It's not the easiest thing to demonstrate on a camera. Basically pull it through like you would do on a snowboard binding, ratchet it up and flip it over, and it's done. Again, going back to anything that has an action, this is red. Okay, so to release it, it's again hard to show you. We just press that, it releases. You can press this, and your cylinder comes off. Now, this is something you should check out at your dive store. You will be able to try this on the cylinder, and trust me, once you try this is very, very easy to do. I've never broken my nails, by the way. So I'm gonna, just one other thing we do, it is a double bag construction, so if need be, you can replace the bladder. Some of the cheaper BCDs on the market are single bag, and once they've been punctured, you really need to change the whole bladder, which is very expensive. We also have a crutch strap, which is available, okay, and then a small pocket on the side here, and then plenty of D-rings and attachments if need be. So that's the BC2, new BC2, and get down to your local dive shop and take a look. Mike's has them in stock now.
Justin, just one thing on the BC2. So obviously, it is a high range BCD. So in terms of looking after this particular BCD and storage after use, what would you recommend is the best way to do this?
Okay, so basically, because of the materials we use with atomic production and design, that we use materials that aren't affected by the environment that you're diving in. So salt water, UV. As I said at the start, this material is salt water and UV resistant. It's not going to perish or deteriorate. Again, the same with the stainless steel inflator. There's nothing in there to corrode. And the reason why you're servicing things is to have it inspected so that you understand it's not corroding away. So again, going back to levers and springs in the second stage and seat saving device, the stainless steel parts in here, we know that if it's used in a saltwater environment and it's left to sit there for 3 or 4 weeks, it's not going to be corroded. We're not endorsing the fact that you should not service your equipment. Of course, your product should be serviced. I believe this is a 2-year service interval on the same as our regulators, because there are O-rings which we cannot control the reduction in performance. You know, they do deteriorate. So the O-rings do need to be changed. But again, when you go to your local dealer like Mike's, they will be able to inform you of the service interval. They will be able to inform you of the features of the product that you're buying. But yes, I have to admit, if I didn't work for Atomic and it was my personal money, Atomic is what I would buy diving, for sure, for sure.
No, that's perfect. Okay, so so we've discussed the rigs,
yeah,
we've discussed the BCD. Obviously, very important kits to have, but mask-wise, obviously, without a mask, we can't really go underwater. so in terms of mask, Atomic, what would you recommend is a really good mask to get?
We have a range of masks and snorkels, and again, they are the best materials and they are the best design. So on the snorkel, we have a scupper valve system, which is the dry snorkel on the market. Basically, in a nutshell, it's a valve with inside a valve, and that is patented to us. So you never actually get any water in the breathing tube area of the snorkel. So sometimes when you're snorkeling, you get a gurgle or you get some salt water come back up in your throat if you breathe heavy. This is not going to happen with a SV2 or SV1 Atomic snorkel. Again, I haven't got one to hand with me, but check it out at your local dive centre, and Mike's have them in stock and they'll be able to go through it. And the website has a great little video at atomic.com, atomicaquatics.com, sorry, and they'll be able to demonstrate that. The masks are very interesting, as you know. We produce a number of masks because not everyone's face is the same. We all agree. Sometimes a 50-pound mask will fit you better than a 150-pound mask. It all depends on your facial shape. So we, as a company, we designed 3 or 4 designs of masks. We have the original frames. We're one of the first companies to bring that out, this frameless design. We have the subframe, which is a dual lens, and then we have the Venom. One of the things I'd like to show you on the video while I have you here is the Venom frameless. And again, all the masks can be seen on the website at atomicaquatics.com. And a lot of the mask designs, I wouldn't say the same, but we have certain features that we've put in our design of our mask. And I'd just like to show you this from the Venom frameless. And I know this is actually one of Mike's better selling masks. Do you know what it retails for the guys?
That goes for $139 if I'm not mistaken.
$139, I think it's right. So the first thing we have is the super white ultra clear lenses. Now, Atomic's been using these for many, many, many years. In a lot of other masks, they will use a cheaper glass, which has what's called floatum in it. So when you actually look through the lens, it looks clear. But if you take a look at the side, you'll see that lens glass is actually tinted, slightly green. So this is fine, but what happens in darker water or cold water or even warm water, clear water, you're looking for a green tint. So all the colours look slightly tinted. Back in the day when we didn't have digital cameras, you used to have to adjust white balance. And your eye would be looking through a floatum lens glass and you'd be getting the white balance wrong. So now people then realized this was an issue. So they started taking down actual white bits of paper or card or plastic to actually balance their camera. Now everybody does it on Photoshop, I believe. But, but we still use that quality of glass and always maintain that. So there is a premium cost to that. The other thing about the Venom frameless design is that we use a dual or bi-mold silicone scope. And by means of that, this is what we call a frameless design. So there is no hard frame. It can be completely folded flat, okay? This makes the glass slightly susceptible if you're going to drop it like so, because you have no hard frame around it. With a subframe design, you have a hard frame. But the beauty with a frameless is it's actually a lot lighter and it's completely flat. So you could, if need be, put it in your pocket as a second mask, a backup mask. One of the nice features of the Venom frameless is our buckle system. So we just have a one buckle adjust. I'll show you on this side. So we just press it and you can pull it through. Don't need to press it. It's very hard to demonstrate the shade. And you just press it and pull. So adjust it up tight. You don't need to press the button. If you want to loosen it, you have to press the button. So that's quite nice. So when you're on a dive boat, you can loosen it. You can put it on because sometimes you might have a neoprene strap. Sometimes you might be wearing a 5mm hood. Sometimes you might be wearing no hood. So that's a nice little adjustment. Very easy to do when you forget to do it before you enter the water. The other nice feature is the biomold silicone skirt, which I want to get to. So when you come into your dive store, or your mics, you'll be able to feel the bifold silicone. So this is slightly rigid, as you can see. But this isn't the part sealing against your face. It's the actual jelly silicone. And this is unique to us. I'm going to come to the camera. You will not find any other mask on the market that will be able to do this. And you can imagine how comfortable that's going to fit. Okay, nobody's face is going to be like that, but I'm just trying to demonstrate the elasticity of this silicone skirt. So if you're having issues with the fitting, I recommend you to try this, very much so. If you're having issues with being marked every time you come out from a dive from your mask, this should not do this for you. Okay. Always try the mask on in store. Okay, if you can try the mask on in store, you breathe in gently through your nose, shouldn't leak. Okay. For somebody like Tristan here, who's got a modern day man beard going on, this bottom of the skirt will also fit around that. Okay, I'm not going to say it'll be 100% waterproof because it's very hard to do that when you have, but this is going to be a lot better. Also, if you look at the bottom here, you still have the hard silicone, but some people have here, it's just hard on the nose and uncomfortable. This doesn't happen with the Venom. As you can see, the skirt is the same down here. So if you're experiencing this feeling here and it's uncomfortable, try the Atomic Venom. I'd like to say one thing about production and of masks, and this is all masks. When you have an issue with steaming up, it is not the problem of the glass or the mask, okay? When a mask is produced, it comes out of a mold and it has a molding agent in, which allows you to release it, especially with a frameless, so it doesn't damage the mask. And sometimes this mold releasing agent is actually on the inside of the glass. So when you take it out of the box, my recommendation is to clean that with either something like 5,000 PSI, which is a mask cleaning agent that they sell in dive stores like Mike's, or you can use a child's toothpaste, which I find very successful, and it has to be a non-granular one. Because sometimes now a lot of the masks, including Atomic, comes with UV coatings, and so you don't want to be scratching that coating. So it has to be like a child's 6 to 9 months toothpaste, or 9 to 12 months, whenever they grow. I don't remember. And basically just put it on and then leave it. Okay, because when you look at a piece of glass under a microscope, it's like the Himalayas. Yeah. And what happens, that mold agent, release agent, is sitting in those little pockets that you physically can't see by your eye. When you leave it, what happens as the toothpaste dries, it draws out those little pockets of the mask release agent. And then don't touch it after that. One of the classics we hear all the time is, oh, I bought my mask and I've cleaned it and it's absolutely fine. But every time I go abroad, it mists up. Well, think about it, guys. It's sun cream on your hands. Yeah, you put sun cream on, then what you do, 20 minutes later, you spit in the mask and that hand goes and decontaminates it. So it's never a fault of the glass of fogging up. It's always going to be an issue of cleaning that lens correctly. So have a little think about it. Hand cream, face cream, sun cream, that will all affect the inside of the mask. Also, there's a little point that the neoprene head straps, mask straps that you have, they're great. They're really, really comfortable. But remember, some neoprene is also made with oil. And of course, if you just put it back in the box like that, it's going to sweat and drip oil onto the lens. So again, that's going to decontaminate it. So that's a little bit of advice for all masks in general that you buy from any dive shop. Just make sure you clean it. And if you're still having issues, try the toothpaste, leave it on overnight, and you'll see it crack and it will draw up. And also it makes the mask smell nice if you use a mint.
Oh, there we go.
Or Tutti Frutti for 6 to 9 months.
No, that's lovely, Justin. Now, just for a short brief, if you can just explain, obviously there are a lot of divers out there that need prescriptions.
Yeah.
So which mask in the Atomic range is good for prescription?
That's a great question. That's a really, really good question. So it's the subframe design, which is a twin lens. Again, you'll be able to see that on atomicaquatics.com. The lenses that we produce are in half diopter kit form lenses. So they go from -1 right up to, I believe, don't quote me on this, I think -8. I think maybe higher. I'm sorry if I've got that wrong, but it could be 8 or 9. I'm being told. But it's in half diopters. Then if customers need reading glasses for the gauges, because obviously these type of things are very hard to read and your arms aren't long enough, we do a plus kit form lens, and that plus kit form lens can just be fitted by your local dive shop or mics and just fitted in, and you'll just get like a gauge readers. My recommendation, if you have any difficult prescriptions, if that's the right word, i.e. with stigmatisms and so on, the kit form lenses aren't really going to cover that. So if your prescription is sort of a little bit weird and wonderful, then I would recommend talking to your local dive centre like Mike's and just saying, you know, do you have access to a prescription lens company that will manufacture lenses? And I believe you do.
Yes,
yeah.
No, we do, yes.
So anybody who has any weird and wonderful prescription lenses, want bifocals and have a proper lens made, then the dive stores, local dive stores like Mike's will be able to do that for you. There is a cost to that. I don't know that, but for sure it's not going to be cheap. But at least you'll be able to see everything properly with your prescription lens.
Awesome stuff. Okay, well that's great, Justin. So now, obviously, we're in the UK.
Yeah.
It's not always sunny, and we want to dive all year round. Sometimes we get a little bit colder than usual.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got all this great gear, but we don't really get into the water because it's a bit cold. What can you recommend as a, would say, gadget, if you want to say it?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked that. Because
you know, like we want to stay warm. You know, we don't really want to buy all this amazing gear and then we can't even use it because it's too cold.
So you're correct. And what Atomic has done is designed what's called the Scuba Heat. Now, yes, it looks like a spring. Okay. But what this does is actually warm the air to the ambient temperature you're diving in. So if you are diving in cold water, you have no way of heat exchanging. There are some heat exchangers on regulators, airflow or on the hose, but they're very, very small, and they're not going to make much effect to super compressed cold air that you're actually breathing. So if you want to demonstrate to anybody how cold that air is you're breathing, you could just open the cylinder very gently, and within 30 seconds you'll see that the valve will start to ice up. You'll see that there'll be condensation, and this is the expansion of the compressed air coming out. Okay. And when something is going at 200 bar or 300 bar into your first stage, which again is cold metal, you're creating a super cooling effect. So what Atomic have done, and just go back to something, rebreather divers have realized this because they're recirculating their air. So they have a very warm dive. And everybody who's on rebreathers will tell you this. It's actually a warmer experience of diving. So what we looked at as Atomic is we decided to look at how we would be able to do something that rebreathe a diver's experience, but for scuba divers, especially in cold water, or some people that are not so insulated, shall we say. And you could be cold in 20 degrees of water, you can be cold in 4 degrees. So Atomic has designed the Scuba Heat. And basically, in short, what this is a radiator heat exchanger. Now, this coil of material, okay, is about 1 meter long. And what happens, you connect your second stage hose to this, and then the first stage air will supply through here. It will come down through here, which will naturally warm like a radiator for a refrigerator or a car or oil cooler. This is the same principle. It actually warms the air. So this material will actually warm the air for you to ambient temperature. Now, there's a great video on atomicaquatics.com which shows this. And in fact, if this is something that you think would help you, we can arrange some loan units for your customer to try out in cold water. But ultimately, what is happening here is instead of breathing super cold air at minus temperature, which ultimately reduces your core temperature, which then
makes it cold.
Very much so. This will give you an ambient temperature. So if you're in 10 degrees water, your air will be 10 degrees. If you're in 15 degrees water, your air will be 15, okay, which is going to be a lot warmer. Also, the other added benefit of this is if you are running second stages and you'll find that you'll get a lot of icing in the winter, this product will prevent that. Now, just one thing, before you're all laughing and saying this is a snag hazard and this is an issue, there is nothing to snag on this. There is nothing to snag. It's open. If any line gets caught through, it just comes through. There is nothing to snag. It just fits nicely on your cam band here. Okay, out the way, next to the cylinder. So again, it's not even going to get damaged because the diameter of the cylinder is larger. So this is always protected. So initial thoughts are those, but please take a look at it. Your local dive centre, like Mike's, they'll tell you the benefits and features. You can try it on a cylinder. You can see how well it's tucked away. And again, if you would like to try this, no problem at all. We can arrange a loan unit for you.
That's amazing stuff, Justin. Well, that's some good information.
Yeah. Now hopefully it'll make you guys a little bit warmer in the European diving.
Well, we can only hope so. Yeah. Now we've got all the gear.
And we have the idea.
And we have the idea. Yes. No, nothing better than that. Now, you've obviously been diving for quite a while.
Yeah.
You've got many years under your belt. I'm sure with all this great gear, I'm sure you've been many amazing places.
Yeah.
What's the best dive you've ever had?
I have to say, one of my proudest moments was diving for the first time my daughter. She lives in Australia, and I organised for her to do a dive course. Couple of tips: never teach your daughters or your girlfriends or wives to drive or dive. It truly doesn't work. So we put her through a course in Cairns, and we went up to Port Douglas, and we did 3 or 4 days of diving up there. And I have to say, it's the most wonderful experience for me to share that passion that I have and that experience of diving with her. And I've been out there twice a year for a few years, and we've also dived down in Sydney and dived with sharks and seals and had some amazing experience. So I have to say, it's diving with family members and my daughter, you know, and what an amazing experience. So yeah,
that's good. Done with family, that's amazing. Justin, we do have a question here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it is from a gunner. Basically, he wants to know, will there be any improvement on the cold water kit? It washes out over the time, and it is a lot of work if a technician does a service.
Right. So there are 2 styles of cold water kits you can have. Well, in fact, 3 styles. There's a dry kit, which the water doesn't enter, and the diaphragm on the regulator is insulated by the air. But of course, as we just spoke about, if it's cold, it's only insulating it to 8 degrees or 10 degrees or the ambient temperature. The other kits which some other brands use are oil or vodka.
Oh, well, there we go.
Vodka sometimes is used in Scandinavian countries, and I have heard rumours that once they finish diving, they undo the cold water kit and then take the shot of vodka to warm them up.
Nice.
So vodka is alcohol, of course, and has a higher freezing temperature. I believe it's higher freezing temperature than water. Then the oil is an oil. With Atomic, what we do is we pack the first stage with grease. And there's a couple of reasons for this. The main one is that the grease actually insulates it. So you have probably 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters of crystal lube grease between the workings of the spring and piston and the body of the first stage, which is conducting the ambient temperature, heat and cold. Okay. This is one regulator that I didn't mention earlier. We do a stainless steel one, which I thought we were going to discuss at the end because it's a green regulator. And stainless steel conducts the heat and cold a lot better than chrome brass. So the ST1, which is made by Atomic ST1, you can see the details on the atomicaquatics.com. That is actually made of stainless steel. So it is a very, very good high quality cold water regulator. In the CE test, we have the highest cold water rating because it's stainless steel. So that's another feature, and it's environmentally friendly. So while we're talking about cold water, I'll just add that in that we're going to put at the end. So yes, we use the silicon the crystal lube to insulate it, and that gives us a better property. The other thing is that it will lubricate the spring, which is quite nice, and it will prevent any of the ambient water, dirty, silty, sand, water getting into that ambient chamber. So that's why we use it. Yes, with your question with regards to servicing, it is slightly messier, but then also the oil is messy. The dry seal isn't so messy, but then it's not as effective. It is effective in terms of CE marking, but it's never going to be as effective as a vodka or a oil or a silicon environmental cold water seal.
Okay, well that's the question there done and answered. Let's check if there's any more. So, okay, guys, so if you do have any questions, please just pop it onto the chat box. Obviously, the schedule is up until 12 o'clock. So, obviously, Justin, is there anything else you want to add before we...
At the moment, for the presentation, I mean, we've done 40 minutes. We've probably bored you all because some of you have gone already. However, we are representatives from the industry here today at Mike. So if you are local, please pop down. You can have a look over the products that we've got here, have a chat with the guys and so on. But just be aware that there is a maximum 6 people in the store.
Yes, max 6
and of course, we would like you to wear a mask if you're coming in. We're social distancing as much as we can as we move away. But yes, please sort of adhere to that if you're coming down. And if there are any questions, you know, you can phone the shop on 0208 994 6006, and you can ask for Justin or Clinton or Tristan or Denise, and we'll be able to help you out all day today. So should we sign off?
Yeah, I think that's it, guys. So we do have a chat box as well. So if you guys want to pop a message in there, we're obviously here until 5 o'clock, so we'll be happy to help you out. But I think that's it for us.
Great. Yeah,
I think let's do the new social distancing handshake.
Brilliant.
Justin, handing everyone from Atomic Aquatics, obviously with all the other brands here in the background, Bear, Hollis, Oceanic, Stolsek, and Ziegel. Justin, handing everyone, thank you very much for joining us today. And guys, enjoy the rest of the weekend. And please don't get cold.
Thank you very much, guys. And all information can be at mikes.com and atomicaquatics.com. Take care and happy diving.
Cheers, guys. Have a good day.